In the 1970s, clinical researchers sought to measure the precise limits of human awareness. They utilized specialized monitoring equipment in controlled settings, attempting to capture data on states of mind that defied conventional psychology. The central mystery of these investigations focused on a specific biological question: how human awareness extends and exerts influence beyond the physical boundaries of the body. Robert Monroe utilized a rigorous academic methodology to study this phenomenon. By treating his source state as a clinical environment for data collection, Monroe and his team analyzed his experiences with the same scrutiny applied to any other case study. Before attempting any complex exploration, Monroe needed a stable point of reference. His first operational objective was to accurately map his own baseline energy state. By treating human consciousness as a precise architectural structure, his team began to yield usable, repeatable data regarding its form and function. Monroe eventually identified a specific, vast node of personal energy that governed his existence. He labeled this central coordinate the I there. This visualization maps Monroe's initial data return. Thousands of glowing lines radiate outward from his central node, ending in distant energy clusters. The model tracks connections corresponding to every lifetime Monroe experienced. Within this array, specific threads pulse brightly, representing individuals in Monroe's current life. The resulting architecture demonstrates that the individual node is part of a complex, interwoven structural network. These present life connections serve a navigational function. When consciousness departs the body, these familiar points act as tethers, allowing an individual to orient themselves within the wider environment. Monroe's navigation through this web relied heavily on an unidentified presence. He was consistently directed by a patient intelligence that he categorized as INSPEC. Seeking to understand the mechanics of his own guidance, Monroe launched an inquiry to determine the origin of this intelligence within the broader ecosystem. The data returned a match. INSPEC's underlying light signature was completely identical to Monroe's own personal energy signature. The matching signatures indicated that the intelligence labeled INSPEC was actually Monroe himself, communicating from a future iteration of his own consciousness. This suggests a non-linear loop where the guidance required for navigation originates from within the subject's own future timeline. With the mechanics of his internal identity resolved, Monroe began analyzing the XCOM data, focusing on foreign phenomena beyond his personal cluster. This data categorized non-human intelligence into two classifications. The first included entities that share a similar origin to humanity but reside in distant regions of the universe, remaining indifferent to human affairs. The second classification represented an undiscovered intelligence. Locating this specific presence became Monroe's primary operational task. Making contact with this second type of intelligence was theorized to secure a new home for his consciousness cluster once their physical lifetimes concluded. Mapping the architecture of the self was a prerequisite calibration needed to execute this external expedition. Embarking on a solitary expedition into unmapped territory carried perceived risks. Before departure, Monroe analyzed his own structural data to understand how his energy field responded to external pressure. The findings indicated that the underlying energy signature remained constant and unaffected by outside force, maintaining its structural integrity regardless of the physical body's condition. Monroe was shown the retrieval flow of his own cluster. This support structure, built from thousands of past iterations, manifested as countless reaching hands, providing a constant feed of radiance and support. Monroe realized that the radiation from his entire network would travel with him, making true isolation structurally impossible. Confident in the durability of his own structure, Monroe moved into the unmapped environment to find the missing intelligence. The analysis concludes that despite facing the unknown, human consciousness maintains a persistent tether to its own past and a direct link to its future iterations.